Well. Welcome again to the Shake Up with Dr. Kit. Listen, I'm so glad that you're with me again. It's always good to have a company from outside, people that just want to hang in with me from one week to the next. This is the Shake Up. You know how we say it, how we do it. Listen, when you make your favorite fruit juice, and you let it sit for a while, all the good stuff that's settled at the bottom, and then we got to shake it up so you can get all the good stuff mixed up. Relationships like that. This is that show that talks about relationship. Everything that we talk about on here got something to do with relationships. Okay, so don't go away. As a matter of fact, I want you to tell your friends about this show so that they can come on and get some of the good stuff that we have giving away for free, because this show is free. Okay, Shake Up with Dr. Kit. Now listen, I'm going to get right to it because we have a really good show for you tonight. You will not be disappointed in any way at all. We have an amazing guest with us tonight. And I don't want to say too much more. I'm going to let her introduce herself however she wants to introduce herself. And then we're going to get right into this. So remember now, you got to share this thing. You got to call some of your folks. You got to let them know. You got to like it. You got to follow, share. At this time, it's important to share, and subscribe. Okay, so like, follow, share, subscribe. But we need to get a whole lot of people online because this information here, it is free but great. All right, so thank you much. So right now, I'm gonna invite my guest to just come on and just introduce herself, and we're going to get rolling right away. Oh, here she is in all of her beauty. Look at her just. Well. Hello. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing just fine.
You're doing just fine. Okay, you look like you're doing just fine. All right, listen, let's get right into this here. Listen, again, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you on camera.
Thank you.
I know you have a lot of really good things. You have a lot of good experience to talk about this particular issue, subject matter you be talking about here tonight. So I'm going to let you, like I do with all my guests, and that is to let you introduce yourself, however you want to introduce yourself. Tell us about you, and then just tell us what you want to talk about tonight, and then we'll go from there and talk about what's driving you to do this, what's your interest in all of this, and just whatever. Hey, listen, it's your time to talk. Okay, I might have a few questions to ask later on, but so there's no pass fail. It's just hey, this is the way we do it. All right, good.
Thank you so much. I think it is a privilege that you have invited me to participate in this program, and I am really excited to be here.
Good.
First, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Ruth Butler. I am married to James Butler, and we have 2 daughters, 2 adult children, and 3 adorable grandchildren.
Oh.
I am a retired nurse. I've been nursing for a very long time.
I know you didn't get no numbers on that one, right?
I started nursing school in 1974, and I finished nursing school in 1977.
Oh, okay.
And most of those years were spent working in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
I've worked in California. I've worked in Maryland. I've worked in Washington, D.C. And I am now happily retired.
All right. Now,
and enjoying retirement.
Yeah.
And since
and your 3 grandchildren.
And my 3 grandchildren. And since we've retired, we've traveled. Well, we went on a couple cruises. We've traveled to some other states, and we're just enjoying retirement. But during this time, I had a lot of time to read over the past 2 years. Oh, I actually am a certified life and health coach.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I spent some time reading, and I do read a lot, even though it's audible. I do read a lot. And one of the books that really impressed me when I read it was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And there is so much information in that book, and it caused me to think.
Mm.
And when you think, a lot of things go through your mind. And one of the things that went through my mind was the number of days that it takes for an individual to form a habit.
Oh.
And I started thinking about that. And then I said, you know what? The relationship with food is a problem.
Food.
Because when you look at the statistics, and I don't have them with me, but the
Mm.
statistics for obesity in the United States and in the world that are published talks about the problem that people are having with food and the number of diets that people are trying. And diets do work and they help. But I think one of the things that is neglected is the relationship that people have with food. And it may sound strange, but we do have a relationship with food
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
we should be eating food to sustain us and to give us the nourishment that we need. But I think some people eat just because they have food. And some people never stop eating, they
Ooh.
eat continuously because, there are some thoughts out there that you eat small meals, and so people never stop. And so when I read this book, it said to me that there are habits that people have. And I started to look at habits and relationships. And I
Mm.
thought heavily about the relationship with food. And I did, and like I said, I did think about that because of the statistics. And so
Mm.
I thought, if people could only change their habits, it takes about 66 days to develop a new habit.
Ooh.
And if you develop, I mean, it could take 2 years, but it takes about 66 days.
Days. Okay. All right.
And if people could change and realize that, yes, you can go on a diet, and there are many diets out there, and they work. They work for a very short time. They work temporarily. But I think what we need to realize is that we need to have not only a relationship with food, but our spiritual. There's a spiritual aspect that goes with it. And when that changes, it then becomes a lifestyle.
Mm.
So we can still have that relationship with food, but it has to be a relationship that sustains a lifestyle. It helps the lifestyle. And you don't want to do it temporarily. You want to do it to be lasting. So we need to, there's a process with changing our thought process, our belief. And we have to believe that we can do something. And if I quote the Bible in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13, Philippians chapter 4 actually has a lot of promises and a lot of thoughts that can help us change our minds and change that relationship that we have with food. And I keep saying the word relationship because it is seriously a relationship that people have with food. There is
Mm.
no doubt about it. Because if you think about the things that we do, everything we do is surrounded with food. If you're
Mm.
going to visit a friend, when you get there, they'll offer you, what would you like to drink? Would you like to have some water? I have orange juice, I have apple juice, I have soda. And there you have to make a choice. And that choice is based on your long standing relationship. So, out of, I should say, shame, some people would say, give me water, but they really want a soda. And I'm saying this because of something that I experienced a couple months ago. I went to visit a home with a friend of mine, and the host said, "What would you like to drink? This is what I have." And I said, "I'll have some water." And the other person said, "Well, I really need a soda, but I'll take the water because Ruth is taking the water."
Wow.
And I thought, you're doing this because of me, not because not because you really want it. And that set my mind going again. And I thought, people have to be able, or people should desire to do things because it is going to be beneficial to them in the end. And so I'm saying all that to say that in order to change the relationship that we have with food, we need to start with our mind. And in our mind, we have to believe. And it's in the Bible. I don't have the exact place where it's at, but I know in the Bible, your mind is the seat where everything happens. And so we need to have a belief in ourselves and a belief in God. And the way we develop that belief in God is by developing our spiritual life, having that relationship with our Savior. Whether you serve the God who came in the form of Jesus, or you serve some other purpose, whatever purpose you serve, you believe in it. And so I believe that because of the mind and the way habits are formed and developed and matures, we need to believe within ourselves that we can accomplish what we set out to accomplish. And so belief is one way of looking at it. But the other way that we need to look at it is our behavior. How do I act around food? Am I making choices because it's something that I want to do, or is it because of something that someone else wants to do? So it's belief and it's behavior. And the behavior comes from the habits that we form, and that helps us to develop those relationships that we need to help us accomplish the goal that we're going after. And the goal that I am going after is to have a healthier lifestyle. But I don't feel that it is something that I should accomplish quickly, because then I will be successful at accomplishing what I want to, but is it lasting? And if we look at marriages are supposed to be lasting. It's a relationship that we develop with our spouse from day to day, and our expectation is for it to be lasting. The same way with food. Some people have a lasting relationship with food that takes them to the grave. Others have
Too much of a
relationship.
lasting relationship.
And then another thing that we need to do with belief and behavior is our identity. Who created us? Why am I here? What's my purpose? And one of the things that we're told in the Bible is that my body belongs to God, and I need to treat it as if it belongs to God.
Right.
When I don't have that close relationship with God, I would treat my body anyhow. I would do anything. I would put anything in it. So it all boils down to how we go about developing a relationship. We need to believe within ourselves that we can accomplish what we set out to do, and we need to behave in a manner to change and to help the belief system that we have. And we need to know our purpose. who do I belong to and why do I belong to that person? So I have these three things in my mind. And I personally knew the relationship that I had with food. And so I got a health coach. I have a coach who is helping me. And as I'm working with the coach, I realize that a lot of it is emotional. A lot of the problems that we have with food is the relationship that we have with the food that makes us do the things that we do. And so I want to share this. I'm so excited about it. And I'm glad that you invited me, because we don't understand the impact that our mind and the relationships that we develop every day, every minute, every second, how it impacts our bodies and our lifestyles. And so if we want to have a healthy lifestyle, we would need to have a belief system that works with us, that we work with. And we, in order to have that relationship, we have to do it every day. We have to do it all the time. And it must be foremost in our mind. And three of the texts that motivate me and keep me going is Philippians 4, verse 6, verse 13. Those two, Philippians 4 and verse 6 and verse 13. The whole of chapter 4 is actually very interesting, but those two verses are the verses that keep me focused.
Mhm.
And because I don't want to do something that's temporary. I want something that is permanent, something that is lasting. And yes, I have tried all of the diets. Well, I don't know if I tried all. I've tried a number of them over the years, and I've been successful. But the thing about it is that is it going to be lasting? And I think that's the key to this problem that we're having in our communities and in the world, is because it's not lasting.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Right.
I want to lose weight because I'm going to a class reunion. I'm going to a wedding. I need to fit in a dress, but we need to be doing things that will last.
Okay. All
Any
right. Well,
questions?
let me ask you this, because you've used this word several times. It's called relationship, and you're right. It's impossible not to have a relationship with people, places, things. I mean, when you come to know that it is, and it is just because it is, then you do have a relationship with it. But one of the things that you talked about is that relationships are functional. We develop a relationship with something, people, places, or things, in order to satisfy the self. We do this. And food is one of those things that we use to satisfy the self in a number of ways. It is a distraction, for one, because it gets into that pleasure center. And while we are eating this thing or drinking this thing, okay, it satisfies us so much that it distracts us from any pain or discomfort that we might be having. And so you went to this home, and they say, listen, what would you like to drink? You say, hey, listen, I want to drink some I'm going to get me some water. And the friend said, listen, I would rather have a juice, but my external conscience, which is Ruth Butler, because of her behavior, and her behavior is so powerful to me, that I'm willing to do what she's willing to do so that I can conform with her, even at this moment, to do this. Now, here's the deal. The question is, did she enjoy the water as much as she would have enjoyed the juice? See, That's a key piece. So you're talking about longevity and continuity of it. So these are some of the things that ones that, so can you address the function of food as opposed to the satisfaction that you get from food, even though the function of food may be something that satisfies you, but there is a little bit of a difference in, just the function. We eat, we get full, we sleep, whatever it is, and then the satisfaction. Because I'm thinking it's not the volume of food that traps us; it's the satisfaction we get out of eating or drinking this particular thing. That's what I'm thinking about.
Well, I think one of the problems that we have and that goes along with the food is that we eat some of the diets may not be balanced. It may be the components in the meal that you enjoy. And an example would be sugar. And some people or even salt, but some people, they would eat the dessert if it's available before they eat the food. We should be eating it because we need to get the nutrients that is in it, because every meal that we eat should have carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and we should drink water every day. We don't drink enough water, and I think that is one of the problems. We don't drink enough water to hydrate our bodies, and therefore when we see the things that are not good for us, we gravitate to those. And sugar is one of the things that people gravitate towards, and a lot more foods have sugar in it than we would ever imagine. Everything has sugar, and we're not going to go into the components of food and all that, but one of the things that people that help people not to be satisfied is because of the composition, how the food is made up, how the food is prepared, and the ingredients in the food. They gravitate towards sugar. For example, there are some grown people who don't eat vegetables. They just don't eat them. And that is one of the things that we should be able to eat without a problem, because they're healthy and the vegetables have in everything that we need to eat. But some people make poor choices of what they're eating. And so that's one of the problems that people have, the choice that they make.
That's okay. So if people is having this difficulty, coming to a conclusion about what to do, would that have anything to do with like their nowness, like what's going on with them, like right now? Because I'm gonna say, listen, if I'm thirsty, really thirsty, like right now, I want water, not food. Right now, the issue here is this: do I want the water, or do I want the water to make me feel the way I want to feel? And I'm thinking that for some people, the stuff that they eat and drink may not be the issue. The question here then would be, how do I want to feel, and what do I need to get so that I can feel what I need to feel? And so the function then of food is self-satisfaction. What do you think about that?
And a lot of times that probably is the case, where people want, they're not interested, or they may not be aware that the food that they're eating is not satiating to them. They may be satisfied because it has, and I'm going to use the word sugar again, it may be palatable to them, and they may eat it, but they're not thinking of the benefits that they could achieve from eating the food, the choice that they make to eat. Like, if you want water, you know that you want water. And a lot of times we don't really want food. What we need is water. That's what we need a lot of times, water. But we made other choices.
Yeah. Okay. So again, as a life coach, I'm wondering if you meet people who just want to be satisfied, because remember you said earlier on, I think if I remember said that, it takes a while to develop a habit, and is it that they need to develop a habit around eating certain foods, or is it that they need to understand the need to eat certain foods, regardless of whether it's a habit or not? But just make it that, because a habit may say, listen, it just tastes good. But the need to do something like maybe a health issue, a spiritual issue, like you said,
People make choices based on what they know.
Okay.
And some people may not know that they need to be eating differently.
Okay.
And so people need to be educated as to how they should be eating and how to make good choices. And some people need to be facilitated in that way. Yeah.
Now, as listen, can food really affect how I speak to my wife and relate to her?
Yes,
Listen, listen. I'll let you handle that one, okay? And they can talk about you, not me.
Well, food probably can, because if your spouse is having,
Come on, go ahead and say it.
It depends on how the choice of food that they make to eat. And they may need to drink some water, but instead of drinking water, they drink soda. I know they're full of sugar.
Oh, and Ruth, you're talking about flushing themselves. Ruth, people love that stuff, though. I mean, that stuff tastes so good, and I say that in jest, but there's a lot of truth in that, in that there is this need to satisfy the self, in just about everything that we do. So the food there, and let me tell you that when we talk about the composition of some foods, the taste is very important, because different parts of the world, they season their food in a different way. And if it's not the way they do it, then it's not palatable, and they will might even be nauseating to them. But then, so now I'm talking about regional and cultural stuff, which impacts the behavior. Will what I eat or drink impact the way I treat my spouse? Yes. It depends what you're drinking, because if you're drinking alcohol, sure enough, it's going to impact the way you treat your spouse.
And that is true. It depends. We develop taste. Our taste buds are developed based on how we're used to eating.
Right.
And a lot of times we eat and we're not even hungry.
Right.
We eat just because food is there, it's available. And it goes back to that relationship we have with food. Oh, I can't leave that food there. I just can't do it. I got to eat it. You're not hungry, but you got to eat it just because it is there. Mm-hmm. So it has, that's why the mind is so important when it comes to the relationship with food. It goes back to the mind and the belief that you can accomplish what you set out to accomplish.
Okay. Can food choices come from childhood traumas? And what do you think about that? Can it really come from that childhood trauma?
I don't know if it necessarily comes from childhood trauma, but the way that we eat has a lot to do with the way that we grew up and how we were eating when we grew up. I don't know if it's trauma. I cannot speak to that, but I know that the choices that or the food that we were fed when we didn't have a choice, when we had to eat what our parents gave us to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a great part in the habits that we have formed and in the choices that we currently make.
Okay, so therefore, then I'm just wondering whether or not to go back and kind of push a little further on that question. That would be that if there was something available to me as a child, right, every time I had one of my now moments, like this particular moment, like right now, not what I want, not where I'm coming from, but what am I feeling like right at this moment? So if there was a particular food that was available to me and I would eat it, would that then become recorded in my brain as to say, even as an adult, well, this is what I need, and so I need to stock up on this stuff here because it worked then. It's gonna work now. I mean, is it possible that there is a relationship between that and I go back to satisfying the self. I think we
Well,
do so much to satisfy the self.
it probably does go back to a memory, and I can give you an example of that.
Okay.
I love oxtail. There's no point. I love it.
Okay.
But you know what? I have not eaten it in years, and I see it all the time. But I have no desire to eat it. And as a child, yes, my mom cooked it. She did, and it used to taste really good. But I made a choice not to eat it, and I have not eaten it in years. Where I used to live recently, there was a Jamaican restaurant right across from where I was living. I could smell the oxtail cooking. I have no desire to eat it. And that is something that I enjoyed as a child. But I made a choice not to eat it. And, sometimes it is hard, but I made a choice not to eat it. So I'm not going to eat it.
So you're not going to eat it. All right. But but isn't it even supposed to be pleasurable? Yes, it's supposed to be pleasurable. Ruth, listen. Your mama cooking that oxtail. She's like, man, I gotta please my family, and the smell be going all over the neighborhood. Your family and friends be coming up. It's time for Miss Ruth's mother to come in, cook some food. So they be all showing up at that time, right? but listen though. Is there a difference between making a decision not to eat something and a conscious decision and getting to where you can see it, touch it, smell it, do all that kind of stuff, and there is nothing left on the inside of you to be satisfied by it? Is there a difference there, and can people get to that?
Yes, you can. And I go back to that belief. You
Okay.
have to believe within yourself,
Okay.
and with the help of God, that you can do it. You just have to. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. And, they say you learn by repetition. And I have that text marked in my Bible. I have it written in my planner. And when I worked, it was on my desk. I just have to stay focused on it all the time. You have to believe within yourself that you can do it. I was listening to something the other day, and the person said that she healed herself because she believed that she would be healed. We have to believe that we can do it. We have to stick with the choices. That it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy, but you just have to stick by it. Let me just give you an example. I think it was February 2021. I think that's when this happened. And I was talking to a cousin of mine who lives in England. And she told me she was going on a 48-hour fast. And I thought to myself, this girl is crazy. A what? And I couldn't believe that she was doing it. But then when I read that you can do whatever you make up your mind to do, I thought, okay. And she was successful. And I still don't know how she did it, but it happened. It all has to do with what's in our mind and our mindset.
Right. It does. And one of the things, I thought everything was about portion control. You had said earlier on, you talked about small portions, and people are basically grazing, as they go through the day. But from what I'm understanding, that is not portion control, though. Portion control is when you have designated amount of different types of food with different types of nutritions in it that you eat at specific times, through the day. Is that what it is? That's my understanding of that.
Yeah, portion control is exactly what you said, but there are people who would eat all day. They, like you said, they graze all day, and they'll tell you, "Oh well, I'm eating 6 meals a day," but they're never stopping. And our stomachs need rest.
Yeah. Yes.
And it takes about 6 hours to digest a meal. And they have some people who would eat right before they go to bed. That means that the poor stomach don't get an opportunity to rest because it's working throughout the night while you are sleeping to digest the food that you just ate because you were up watching TV or doing whatever you do late at night. So that's not portion control.
Right.
That's not a good habit to form. We need to adjust our habits.
Okay. So can you talk for a little bit then about exercise, the relationship between exercise and eating? Because I was reading somewhere where it says, listen, after you've had a good meal, the best thing for you to do after you've had a good meal is not to sit down. You're supposed to get up and go for a nice walk outside in the fresh air and begin to allow your body to metabolize this stuff and your muscles to begin to work. So you get this holistic component where everything is coming in, nice blood flow going to, in the stomach to do all the work that needs to do. Did I get that right?
And I have read that also, that we should exercise 30 minutes after we've finished eating. We shouldn't be doing anything strenuous,
right,
but we should be utilizing our muscles, and it helps with the digestion of food.
Yes.
And also exercise helps people not to be constipated. And we have a lot of constipated people who may be constipated for one reason or other. They're probably not getting enough fiber in their diet. They probably don't exercise, and it's recommended that we exercise at least for 30 minutes every day. I know some people do 2-3 hours and that kind of stuff, but from the literature that I have read, it is recommended you get at least 30 minutes of exercise every day. And it doesn't have to be anything major. If you just take a walk on the outside, go in your garden, pull some weeds, do something, just get 30 minutes of exercise. You might be able to do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes after lunch, 10 minutes in the evening, but you should get at least 30 minutes a day.
Okay. All right. Listen, so let me kind of push this down the other end of the continuum now. I think there might be some people out there who, Yes, we can make conscious decision not to eat things that are detrimental to our health. I gave up fried food when I discovered that my cholesterol level was out of the roof. Levels are not controlled. And I think you might have addressed something like this earlier on. We say, listen, food should not be just functional, or our diet should not be just functional, but it should be purposeful with a goal in mind, and we should be goal driven. I'm thinking about if I was understanding what you're saying earlier on, we should be goal driven so that we are not doing this thing, so we don't give up when we feel we want to give up. Our goal should be so strongly etched in our mind that we should not, that we should always keep that as the method, or the reason, I should say, for our working, for eating.
Well, I one of my motivational factors for making the changes that I made, I read the book Longevity, and I do not remember the name of the author right now, but he was talking about people that lived long, and he went to UCLA, and he was doing the research, and he knew the people who went in the biosphere. I don't know if you remember that experiment that happened years ago with these 3 men that lived in some kind of sphere in somewhere in Arizona. And he said
They're in
that,
that kind of a bubble kind of a thing. Yeah. Is that
yeah,
the ones? Yeah.
something like
That's
that. I'm not sure what it is. But he said that he realized that the choices we make with food, and these are not his exact words, I'm just paraphrasing what I got, that when they went on some kind of calorie restricted diet because they did not like what was going on with them before with the food choices that they were making, something to that effect. And he said because they were so restricted, when they came out of this biosphere thing, I don't know what it was, that they were shaky, they looked they didn't look very healthy. And it was because they were deprived of some of the nutrients that they should have received and some of the calories that they should have received. They were doing an experiment. And I said all that to say that, yes, the food should have the components that our bodies need. And the scientists and the dietitians know what we need. And every year or every couple of years, there's some kind of pyramid that we're supposed to live by. And most people don't do that because people don't have time to be counting and all this stuff that goes along with it. But we can have a balanced diet and make good choices and be healthy.
Okay. Listen, so I was going to go down to the other end of the spectrum now. So I'm going to go there just for a minute, just because, this is a shakeup. So we're trying to shake a few things up. I think, excellent information, right? But there's always going to be an outlier, something, other people who have like some go to extreme difficulties to be able to latch onto or to develop this kind of a good eating habit. We talk about, exercise. We talk about rest, and we talk about diet. I call it RED, R-E-D, which is rest, exercise, and diet. Some people may have difficulty with that. And one of the reasons they may have difficulties with that, is because of health reasons. How do we, what do we say to people who are having health reasons? Because a lot of the thing that we're talking about is what happened under normal sphere of life. But others may be saying, well, I just can't do that. I have to do that. Whatever it is, how, what do you say to those people who are having those kind of challenges in their lives?
Well, I would say to those people, check with your physician before you do anything that's drastic. Your physician should be able to answer your questions. You can talk to your nurse practitioner at your physician's office. The nurse practitioner would be able to tell you. And it depends on the resources that you have. They're actually holistic doctors and coaches and I know people are probably listening from all over the country, but I know that wherever you live, you do have a physician. You can talk to your doctor about it, or you can talk to your nurse practitioner about it. And I'm going to go to the other extreme. You can also use YouTube and the same platform that we're on to get information. But my advice would be to check with your doctor first and your nurse practitioner in order for them to give you some advice, because they do know the numbers from your lab tests and everything. And your family doctor, your personal doctor should be the person that you get the go ahead from to make the changes that you want to make.
Okay, thank you for that. Great answer. Listen, there's a question on it. Says, what time should you stop eating? Is there a time, or is it a particular clock time, or what is it? How would you answer that?
Well, it depends on you and what time you have to get up. The literature tells us that we should get 7 to 8 hours, some say 9 hours of sleep every night. And you should not be eating you should stop eating at least 2 hours before you go to bed. You can stop earlier, but you should not be eating and then going to bed.
Yeah, listen, I agree. But listen, I'm going to mess with you right now. But Ruth, there is a difference between sleeping and resting. Listen. There is sleep, there's rest, and then there's restful sleep. So I say, there ain't nobody snoring for 7 hours. Just to kind of clear that up, so some people, I don't get sleep for 7. No, what is what's normal? Is it people gonna wake up?
Most people don't sleep greater than 5 hours, but we should really be getting to bed before midnight and getting good sleep. We should be. Okay. And some people, the later you watch television, the more snacks you're going to get. And the snacks that you're going to eat while you're watching television are not the good snacks. Right. Because you're going to be snacking on oily potato chips and stuff that you really shouldn't be.
Hold on. Let me go to my kitchen cabinet and throw all that stuff out. Because you're just messing with me right now. I'm just kidding. Oh yeah, but that's true though.
Yeah, we eat the unhealthy stuff while we're watching television because it's palatable and it's comforting and people enjoy eating it. Now, I personally go to bed at 9 o'clock. I routinely do not eat after 6 o'clock. So, but everybody doesn't do that. And, it is, people do what they want to do. Okay. You got to make a choice. And I think a lot of it comes from educating yourself and making a decision as to how you're going to do it and what you're going to do about it.
Right. We just had a statement about comfort food, and that's why we do it. And, this thing about comfort food, I think there is more to it than just the fact that we call it comfort food. because whatever comforts us, okay, it's meant to take away a discomfort. Now, if we work on the discomfort, then we won't have to have external comfort food based on you're saying, listen, this person, they can heal themselves, not from the outside, but from the inside. You know? So I was just wondering about this term comfort food, if it does have a purpose, you know, and some people, they have to grow past the need for that before they can say no more. You know?
Well, and also you have to think about it. A lot of times when you're watching television, you're not watching the television alone.
Right.
And it's comforting to be eating and enjoying watching a show with your spouse. And it goes back to relationship again with the two people and the comfort food that they're eating.
Okay, so is it so for those who don't have a spouse and you know
They
a
still eat comfort
significant
food.
they still eat, right? So I'm wondering if those who do that routinely then would you know, metaphorically or otherwise, you know, allow the food to become the spouse that's missing.
Probably. I don't know, but probably that food,
It's filling the gap, right?
yeah,
You
the
know,
food is filling a gap.
yeah. Yeah, the food is filling the gap, and you know that they said that some of the most all-encompassing, you know, mode of satisfaction is food because it goes into your body and it's dispersed to everything in your body, every place, and you know, and so I'm just wondering out loud. Just listen, man. Oh, so and so's not here tonight, you know. So I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling all these kinds of stuff. So let me just go eat some food, you know. And I'm
Yeah, and I think we got to be careful when
yeah.
we're eating late at night, and especially eating and going to bed.
Okay. All right.
That's not a good practice to have.
Okay.
So in order to get away from that, you have to keep extending your bedtime instead
Right.
of, you know, sticking to a bedtime,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to get up and walk at 10 or 11 o'clock at night to
Some
help
people
with the
do that. Some
digestion.
people would not. Some people out there just cranking it out on the sidewalk at 11 o'clock at night. You know? Yeah.
Well, it's not normal.
Right.
It's something that you would have to make yourself do. So I think the practice should be to try not to eat late in the night and make sure that you put things in place. And listen, going to bed early is not something that happened to me all of a sudden. It took years before I could get to bed before 10 o'clock, because 10 o'clock felt like a good time to go to bed. So I was going to bed at 10 and waking up by 4:30 so I could get to work by 7 o'clock. So, you know, it's something that changes and you make the changes. But it took me a couple of years to get there.
Okay. Listen, Ruth, I want to thank you so much for the wealth of knowledge and the kind of a holistic, systemic approach that you take towards your lifestyle, and you know, just pumping this knowledge, dissemination of this information out there. I want to thank you, and those of you that are online, they really benefited from your wisdom, your knowledge, your several years of expertise, and just your willingness to be just vulnerable and talk about your own lifestyle or oxtail stuff. Yeah. And all that kind of stuff, you know, running around those Jamaican restaurants trying to go get you some oxtail. You thought I forgot about that. I didn't forget about that piece, you know. But listen, Ruth, listen again. I just want to thank you. So, your last few parting words. What would you like to leave with the listeners here this evening? What you want to leave with them? Yeah.
What I would like to leave with, remember that the choices that you make would determine the quality of life that you have later in life. And if you could um, adopt Philippians 4:13 as and help it to be to guide you as you go through your days, and remember that we have to believe in ourselves, believe that we can do something, and then have the spiritual component going along with it. And I want to say thank you for having me. Um, it took a lot for me to do this, but it's something that I appreciate you allowing me to do. And thank you.
Listen, I thank you so much. But you know what, though? I think the reason I have the shake up is to give people an opportunity to talk about themselves, relationships, all of these things, you know, that are so necessary, so a part of what we do. And you know, some people they may think, well, he's going to get in my business. I'm not getting none about his business. I'll let you tell what you want to tell. I mean, it's just that simple, you know. But I really, really do thank you. And you know, I know you said you do life coaching and some of those other things. Uh, I just maybe if there's another area that you would like to talk about at another time, just come back and then just give us, because you know there is just too much that we just don't know and don't know that we don't know. And then you come along and say, hey, did you know that you didn't know? And you go, wow, really? I didn't know I didn't know. So I thank you. I really do thank you so much. And, you know, Philippians, you can do all things.
4:13.
Do all things.
And I appreciate it. Thank
all right.
you.
So thank you much. And we will see you again when you get that phone call. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, there we go, fellas and peoples. We're thankful people, all you wonderful people out there. We just want to be thankful. We're thankful for just being here with us. You know, if you like that show, if you like what she just did, you know, this amazing dissemination of information, we want you to do this. We want you to like the show. Just go ahead and like it and follow it. You know, we're here every Monday at 6 Central Time. And then just like everything else, if you like something and it's good to you and you have some friends that you want to benefit, you share things that other people that are important to you and things that have been good to you. And so now you like it, you follow it. You know, if you like something, you know, listen, I know some people who love some kinds of food. They follow it wherever they go, whatever city they go, they eat the same food. Now that's following it stuff. All right. All right. So that's good. The other thing I want to say, listen, if we would love to have as many of you who would like to be on the show. It is not intimidating. There are no scientific answers. You just come on and you just talk about your experience of yourself. There are no wrong answers. You will not be shamed on the show. Nothing like that's going to happen. We're just going to have a great time, a wonderful time on the show. But listen, everybody out there's got something here that nobody else on the planet has got. Nobody's, have what you have. Why? Because it is your experience. No one can tell your experience like you tell it. No one can say that your experience is wrong. You are the architect. You are the one who went through it and is probably going through it even now. So listen, just come on and just talk. Let's have a little fireside chat kind of a thing, okay? Yeah, I may get crazy a little now and then, but listen, that's all right. It lightens it up a little bit, okay? Take this kind of a stiffness out the air. So please, we want you to come on the show. We really do. And when you do, tell all your people, hey, listen, I'm going to be on the show with Dr. Kit and the Shake Up. So you want to do that? Get in touch with my people at Dr. Kit Speaks at gmail.com, and my team will take care of you. Listen, there are 5 tips for keeping the sparks alive in your relationship. 5 tips for keeping, listen, you don't want the fire to go out in your relationship. Otherwise, you're going to be cold. Sorry, you're going to be cold. Nighttime cold, daytime cold. Your phone is cold. Nobody's calling you. You know, you're eating by yourself. Look at all this cold stuff. I'm going to tell you 5 tips for keeping the sparks alive in your relationship. Meaning you're going to be warm, comfortable, trusting relationship that you can have. So listen, 5 p.m., 5 p.m. Listen, next Sunday, this coming up Sunday, and you want to be there. And here's how you do it. Okay, we want you to go to my link in bio, Okay, and when you go to my link in bio, you know you can get that information right there. You can see it on the screen even now. So next Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Be here. Tell all your friends about it, okay? And then, September 24th, Rest Stop. That's the name of this thing. Rest Stop, refueling your relationship. Ruth just got through talking about relationship, refueling your relationship. My wife and I, of all kinds of years. Oh, did I tell y'all? We just had a significant milestone. It was this past Thursday. We scored 48 years of marriage. And she has never kicked me out of bed one time. How about that? 48 years. We scored 48 years of marriage. And we had a wonderful time. We didn't go anywhere like that. We just spent it with our grandchildren and a few family. It was a wonderful time. So we will be in Atlanta. We'll be in Atlanta. Did I say when? No, I didn't. So I'm going to say right now. We're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, September 24th. It's going to be all day from 8 until 4. Stay as long as you can. Stay as long as you can from 8 until 4. Both of us are going to be, we will be hosting this conference, a refueling a relationship conference. And the whole idea of calling it refueling is the fact that if something works, it will burn energy. If it burns energy and you don't refuel your energy, you will just fall out. So we don't want your relationship to fall out like that from under you. Okay. So come. We want you to come. We want you to come. Tell everybody you meet you here. Hey, listen, let's go to Atlanta. Look, on the 24th, say all roads lead to Atlanta, Georgia. All road leads to Atlanta, Georgia. All right. And again, go to my LinkedIn bio. You can find a lot of information on there about this and other things that I'm doing. My team. And let me tell you, I want to give a big shout out to my team. I don't talk about them enough. But without them, I could not do this. Without them, I could not be bringing this level of interaction to you. So I want to thank my team. Thank you all so much. Great, great, great people. All right. So we will see you next Monday. We have another great show for you at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will see you then, and also see you in Atlanta, September 24th, all day. All right? Have a wonderful night. Okay, bye.